Here's question number 1. Which marketing channels should I use to get results fast? Okay, now that's a pretty good question, sort of a loaded question, but it's a good one because there are so many options now. We have all of these social media platforms, we have all of these membership platforms, we have all of these forums. There's so many places that you can be. And so I want to sort of shift the perspective of that question. And my answer is this. The question or the perspective that I challenge you to have is more about, one, what resonates with you as a person. Sometimes we get really focused on our brand and where do we think our brand should be. But what's more important is, where do you desire to be? Like, what feels good to you? Because even if I said YouTube is where everyone should be, which I wouldn't say that, but let's say I did. If you don't like doing video, then it's not going to matter if YouTube is the place to get fastest results. What matters is, where do you love being? Because then you'll actually do the thing. You will show up. You will be consistent. And that's going to trump everything else. The other part of the question perspective shift is, where will you commit to being consistent for 12 months? I didn't say 12 days, 12 weeks. I said 12 months. Does that mean it's going to take 12 months for you to see results? No, that's not what I mean. However, if you're going to jump ship after 12 posts or 12 weeks or 12 days, sometimes we feel like jumping ship after 12 minutes, then that's not where you need to, plant your flag. Because you're not committed. It doesn't feel yummy to you to do this, whatever that this is. I'll give an example. For me, as much as people really push Facebook, and probably it is a good place for me to connect with a part of my target market, the reality for me is that every time I get on Facebook, I get sick. I physically become ill. After about 3 months of posting there, I cannot do it anymore. I am an empath, and the energy that comes off of Facebook for me, I just cannot handle it. And so as many years as I've tried to be consistent there, I had to make the decision in 2023 that enough was enough, and I just wasn't going to do it anymore. And so I share that with you because I don't want you to get caught up in what he said and she said and they said, because none of that matters. Where do you love being? Where do you love hanging out? Where are the people that you love having conversations with? That's the channel that is going to help you get the results the fastest. The third part of this answer is going to be the typical answer, which is, where is your target market hanging out? Because as much as you can lean into what you love, as much as I might, love a particular platform, if my target market isn't there, then I'm still not going to see results. So look at how you can marry that. How can you have harmony between, where is your target market? Where are they active? Because sometimes they're just hanging out lurking. Lurkers are good though, don't get me wrong. But where are they active is even better. And then, where do you love being? Those are the most important pieces. Pick that, commit to that, stay dedicated to that, be you wherever that is, and all the results will fall into place just the way that they should, or the way that they could, or the way that they would. So let me see what other question we have. I sort of think these two are similar, so I'll read them both. What are some quick ways to boost my business profits? And then how can I make my business stand out from the competition? The questions may seem a little different. However, for me, they're similar enough that my answer would be almost the same for both of those. Because the reason that you would want to stand out from the competition is to get more customers. And the reason that you want more customers is to increase your business profits. So it's sort of all the same. And I love the question because it's an important question to the success and the sustainability of your business. There are two things that come to mind for me right away. One is the number one thing that I consistently see as profit leaks, if you will, in people's business, and that's follow-up. At the end of the day, honestly, if you never do any social media, if you never do any blogging, if you don't even have an email list, and I am not advocating for any of those, but I am telling you, all of that stuff is amazing. But if you would commit to follow up, you would see a huge difference in standing out from your competition and boosting your business profit, because we all mean well. I have a whole list of people in my inbox that I know I need to follow up with, and I also have a whole list of other things over here that I need to follow up with or that I need to do on my to-do list. And so I can sometimes slack on the follow-up. But the money is in the follow-up. They say the money is in the list. They say the money is in video. They say the money is in a lot of things. And I am here to tell you, from 36 years of doing this, when we had no internet, the money is in the follow-up. If you've gone to an event, follow up with people after the event, within 24 hours after the event. People talk a good game about doing that, but they don't actually do it. So you will stand out when someone sees an email from you or a DM or however you plan to communicate or connect with that person. You're going to stand out immediately. Better than that, when it comes to an event, one of my favorite strategies is to see who's going to be at the event and connect with them ahead of time. That is also going to have you stand out from the competition. Notice that I didn't necessarily give a strategy that relates just to the customer, because you can be the source of getting revenue and you can also be the resource. So it's not always about standing out to your customer. You can also stand out to your colleagues, because they may not need your service, but they most certainly will know someone who does. So when I talk about standing out, when I talk about follow-up, some people are really good at following up with a person they believe is a prospective customer, but they don't follow up with someone that they see as a colleague or even someone who is a competitor. One of my best referrers is a competitor. She does exactly what I do. We almost teach exactly the same strategies and pillars, but hers are called something different, because we know that nothing new is under the sun at all. The thing is that she's not me and I'm not her. And I know that if I do a consult with someone and they aren't feeling me, if I'm not the person for them, I will usually recommend her, and vice versa. And one of us usually always gets the sale, because it comes down to the prospect resonating with who we be, with our energy. It may be our ethnicity. She is Caucasian and I am African American. That may matter to that person, or they just may relate. I am from the North. I was born in New York City, raised in New York City. I am sweet and sassy. She is from the South, Louisiana, very down home, country girl. And so her style is totally different. So when it comes to boosting profits, when it comes to standing out from the competition, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. If someone sends you a DM, message them back. If they're sending an inbox, message them back. Now, here's another one that I am not a fan of, because my phone is sacred for me. But a lot of people will say, answer your phone, because you don't know who's calling. You don't know what they want when they call. I have an answering service for that, because I personally really, really, really keep my phone as my sacred place for my friends and family. So follow up. I have beat that down to the horse, right? Follow up, follow up, follow up. So that means now I can talk about number 2. The second area that I see profit leaks constantly is customer experience. I really wrestled with whether that was first or follow-up was first. I really probably think customer experience is first. However, it takes more time, energy, effort, and perhaps money, and certainly strategy in order to do or improve customer experience. And that's why I did follow up first, because you can do that without anything. Customer experience, or the lack thereof, is drowning businesses. Every single day it is drowning you. The customer has so many choices now that anything that doesn't make them feel like they're more than a number, more than a dollar, more than building a business for you, they're going to go someplace else. They don't have to. The days of monopoly, it's gone. Like, no one, well, except maybe Verizon, no one has a monopoly these days. You must consistently exceed customer expectation. And the consistently is important. And so what I like to teach my clients is this. Think of it like a bank account. If you go to the bank and you only have $100 in your bank account, you are not going to be excited about taking out $90, because that only leaves you with $10. If you go to your bank account and you have $1,000, taking out $100 feels like it's no problem. So when you think about your customer, your client, your patient, whatever you call it in your business, every mistake, every error, every oops that you make, and you will make them, we're all human. No matter how great your processes and systems are, you will make a mistake. But every time that happens, it's a withdrawal. If you make mistakes with a customer, or a prospect for that matter, or it's just something that annoys them, that's a withdrawal. If you aren't putting things into their bank, if you will, you're going to quickly be in the negative in your experience with that customer, and they're going to be annoyed and they're going to leave. So what you want to do is front load your customer experience. You want to make sure that every experience possible, and that's where the consistency comes in. every experience possible, every interaction that they have with you is an amazing one, because now you have filled their bank with all of this love, all of this awesomeness. And when you make a mistake, it will be a withdrawal, but it will be like $100 coming out of your $1,000 instead of $90 coming out of your $100. And so I wrote this article. It's still on LinkedIn, actually. I wrote it years ago. You may want to go and check that out. It's called, Are You the Pebble in Your Customer's Shoe? And it will talk more about this. And then there's also another article I wrote a few years back. I can't remember what that one is called. These things just came to me. It's something about your pipeline and the reason that you may be the cause of your profitability being blocked or being stopped. But when you go to the articles, there's an image of a pipeline. It's like red and blue or something like that, so you won't be able to miss the image. So customer experience is not the same as customer service. Customer experience needs to be planned. It's a strategy. Customer service is something that you need to be doing anyway, all the time. It's just part of delivering your product or service. Customer experience goes far beyond that. And so I'll give you one of my favorite examples of the difference. When you go and check into a hotel, the hotel may be happy to see you, and they greet you well downstairs. They get you checked in. No problem. They may ask if you want a bottle of water. Cool. You get to your room, and if it's an upscale hotel, they may in fact have some mints on your pillow. Okay, that's great customer service. Everybody does it, meaning everyone who works at the hotel, all the maids who clean rooms, they leave the mints on the pillow. Everyone who works at the front desk greets you cheerfully, asks if you want bottled water. That's customer service. Customer experience would be all of what just happened, because that's standard. But when I arrive in my room, instead of there being mints on my pillow, there would be a whatchamacallit candy bar on my pillow, because someone took the time to find out that my favorite candy bar is a whatchamacallit. That's customer experience. Does customer experience take extra time? Absolutely. But that is what will set you apart from your competition. I use that example because hotels collect an enormous amount of data on their customers, especially if you have, gold or platinum status, or, whatever all those things are. But even if you are a coach or a consultant, when you do your onboarding, part of your onboarding process, have a profile questionnaire where you're asking them, well, what is your t-shirt size? Well, what's your favorite color? Well, what's your favorite candy bar? Just ask those questions. It's not hard. Add those questions to the questionnaire so that when you decide you are going to do something special or you are going to do something different, you can cater to each person. That's not that difficult. If someone is paying you for a service or a product to buy their favorite candy bar and put it in a bag and ship it to them, that's going to cost you $2-3. Hey, make it happen. These are very simple things that you can do to increase your business profits, to get your customers talking, and to stand out from the competition. What about something as simple as birthdays? Listen, When you go on to LinkedIn, Facebook is the worst, I think. When I go into my inbox on Facebook and I see someone has sent a message in Messenger saying happy birthday, I love that. That's great. But at this point in time, that's also customer service. That's all it is, because now everyone has been trained to do that. Everyone does it. But here's the worst. Because I can see the history of our communication, I can open that message and I can see that you said the same exact thing, word for the last 10 years. I am no longer impressed. I am no longer excited that you sent a message to tell me happy birthday, because I now know that it was just, it's like AI. It was almost just automated. It didn't really mean anything to me anymore. That doesn't mean you have time to sit and personalize a message to every single body. But here's what you do have time to do. How about sit down and, gosh, we have AI now. It's so easy. Go to ChatGPT, Gemini, any of these places. Tell them that you want to send birthday messages through the inbox. Ask them to write 10 versions of a birthday message. Voila! That means that every year for the next 10 years, you can send a message to me, you can copy and paste, and I won't feel like it was a rote task, because every message was different. We make customer experience so complicated because we try to do big, grandiose things. People don't need grandiose. They like little small things. And so don't overwhelm yourself or your budget trying to compete with, an Amazon delivering customer experience. You can do the smallest of things to make a difference. And so if you have this document with all 10 of these things and you say, okay, this is the message that's going out this year, put a space in there for their name. It takes you 2 seconds to copy and paste that and put their name in that space. It's no big deal. Of course, you can also outsource that to someone on your team and it still feel special. So customer experience is top for me. We did follow-up, we did customer experience. I would say that the third thing, I think in threes, so I always like to have 3 tips. I would probably say that the third thing that is a huge standout for me, and this relates to customer experience, and it also sort of relates to follow-up, but it is a real pet peeve. It's annoying. Learn your tech. Learn how to use your tech. Because so many people have email software. They're telling us that it's important to have a list, grow your list, build your list. I 100% agree with that. However, what we aren't doing is learning how to segment our list, learning how to properly tag our list. It is really annoying when I've already purchased that and I keep getting emails from the sales funnel trying to sell me that thing. It just shows me that you don't know how to use your tech, because all you need to do is tag that person as a customer of that product and exit them out of that email sequence. It's not complicated, it's not hard, but it just needs to be done. It's the same with some other things that happen in the email marketing space. We have to get better at using all the features of our tech. Another example is, I'm already on your list. you have an event coming up, you send an email, and you're sending me to opt in to this event. Now, the reason that people give for that is because they need to track what people are interested in, so they have them opt in every time they make an offer. That is foolishness, because your email software, when you learn how to use all the features, will do that for you if you segment and tag correctly. All that person needs to do is click a button or click a link in the email, and it will automatically add them to that next email automation or sequence or funnel or whatever it's called in the software that you use. That saves them a step. If they love you and they love your content and they are signing up for everything that you're doing, do you know how it starts to feel to them if they have to keep opting in? It feels like you don't even know they're there. So I wanted to pull that out as a separate thing because your competition isn't doing that. That will make a huge difference in your profits. That will make them feel and like they're seen and heard, even though you cannot necessarily talk to everyone on your list individually. So I think I've answered that quite in depth. I'll go to a new question now. See, this is exactly why I probably shouldn't be a coach, because I just turned into a whole webinar over one question. Let's see. The next question. Oh, hold that thought. I see Stacy has a question. Let's see here. Let me get Stacy up here. Yay. Hi, Stacy. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I appreciate you always. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm good, thank you. And I'm so glad. I know I had this on my schedule, and I've already had things going on this morning, and it came across, and I said, let me head over, and now listening to you, I just have questions for you. So it's follow up to the things that you've been asking, and I'm going to say, are you ready?
I am. Go for it.
So once again, thanks so much. And I want to just take notes, and hopefully some more people will come in. But I want to take note that it takes a different type of person to continue on and to serve when you don't know who's in the room, right? It's almost like being the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and you're speaking, you have no idea who's receiving. Now, you can see, but I congratulate you for continuing on this morning when 50% of the population would not have. So kudos for that alone.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. And then welcome to the room, Megan. All right, let's circle back, because the customer service versus customer experience is one of the topics that I love to talk about, because I have dealt with events within one industry that had a normalized standard, and then we were able to start elevating the experience to where other people were doing the same, right? So where sometimes we say, oh, well, if I do it, it no longer is, exceptional or above the norm. Other people won't. But you have to think about how many more people were getting that experience. Now, I want to track it back, because we're that one moment, we've got the mint on the pillow, and then we have the whatchamacallit candy bar, which I absolutely love too. It's so funny you said that. What allows someone, because you talk a lot about mindset, is what allows that person even to understand the concept, one, of the difference, and then two, that they can do it. You did go through the how, which I love, of how they can actually implement it, and it doesn't cost a lot. But for some people, they don't have the vision. Those things never come to mind, sometimes because they've never experienced it themselves or they missed it, and then sometimes because that's just not the way they think. So how does someone even start to think in experiences versus services?
Yeah, I love that question. Hi, Megan. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and I will bring you up on stage just like Stacy, and you can ask your question as well. So, Stacy, I love that question because it is so true. I've had that challenge for years. The thing that I wish for probably 30 years that I could have been a consultant, coach, strategist for is only customer experience. But people didn't get it. They didn't get it. They didn't care. It was hard to bring people around to that mindset. And so I really had to shift somewhat to talking about what they thought they needed and give them what is actually going to move the needle. And I still do the same now. So exactly what I did is what I find works. I teach them the difference between customer service and customer experience just so that they can hear the words, but I had to give them the examples. I had to constantly give them the examples. One of the things that I used to do a long time ago for my clients is every week I would send examples of things that they could do to deliver an amazing customer experience for their customers, because they don't think that way. They can't imagine it. It doesn't resonate with them. Once I say it, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Or, oh, I didn't even think of that. So I would just send a regular newsletter once a week with new ideas every week of things that they could do. And that kept them from having to try to force their brain to think in a way that it wasn't thinking. But here's the most important part that I found works is living by example. And so the things that I did for my clients and them being able to see how that felt to them is what really helped them understand the difference. And more importantly, I have a whole entire pillar, if you will, on customer experience in the Profitable Empires framework. But in that pillar, it's not just the customer who's paying you externally, it's also your team. And so what happens is people who work for you or with you, they're not used to working for a boss who really cares about them. So they don't know how to really care about and love on your customer. So it really starts by being that way with your team. I make sure that I know all my teammates' birthday. I remember, I don't just know it, I actually celebrate their birthdays. I give them, they are allowed to choose one day off within 7 days of their birthday. Doesn't have to be on their birthday. They just have to tell me which it is. They get that day off with pay. Simple things like that. I know when their children's birthdays are. I don't just, at Christmas time, we actually, in my company, we give our team 2 weeks off with pay during Christmas, and we also send their children an Amazon gift card. Now, here's the point that I want to make about this, is that may sound like it's costly, And every business may not be able to do that. But when you think about it, most of my team is virtual. Whatever it is that they do for me, it can wait. I was going to pay them anyway if they were there. So I'm not adding an expense to my business. It was already going to be their pay. It just means that for that 2 weeks, they're not at work. And I make sure that we are so far ahead in our tasks that I'm not missing anything during that 2 weeks anyway. So my point in giving the team example is that because I love on my team, because I am consistent with how I deliver an amazing experience to my team, they now know what customer experience feels like. Beyond what I tried to train them to do, they now know what it feels like, and they love passing that feeling off to my clients. I didn't have to explain it anymore after that, because for them, they love how we treat them, and they treat our customers the same. What do you think about that, Stacy?
I absolutely love it. Of course, by experience. And then again, what you're doing allows your team to have an experience. And when they have the experience, they dream a little bigger. And the people that they're surrounded by get to receive some of that treatment as well. Because now they can extend some of the examples of the things that you have done for them and that they see you do for your clients to those around them. So it's almost, it's definitely the pebble in the water effect, where all the rings go out just from the one act that you do. So I love that. Now let's shift into the team thing, because the next question is about hiring. So most of the people that are on the platform that makes your skin crawl are really entrepreneurs or solopreneurs versus what we traditionally would say is a small business owner. They may have a VA, may have a contractor, but they don't have one-on-one, as you were saying, employees. And they also don't know when to go through the process of, and I say this to you because this is your world, of the difference between a 1099 contractor to hiring an employee to having an intern. So the question is, when you are in business by yourself and you know that you need help because you're looking at, now they're throwing this metric out to you and it says, do I delete it? Do I delegate it? Do I do it? Or, and you're saying, I don't have anybody to delegate to, but I know I need help. Talk to us a little bit about the steps of one getting to that point, the realization, and then how do you start the process of hiring on? Like, who do you hire first?
Yeah, I love that question too. And hi, Diane. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand and I'll bring you on stage to answer your question, just like I'm doing for Stacy. And so when it comes to hiring, well, let me back up for a second to when you are a solopreneur, because most of us are solopreneurs for a long time before we're financially able to hire, sometimes before we're financially able to even outsource a project. And so it makes you use the term skin crawl. This is another one of those skin crawly moments when I hear people say blatantly, the first person you should hire is this, or the first person you should hire is this, or the first person you should hire is this. I do not agree with that. I don't agree with generalities when it comes to someone's business and the growth of the business, because in this respect, while so many things are the same across the board with businesses, in this respect, your business is different. Well, I take that back. It's not your business, it's you. You are different. Businesses really aren't. It's you that's different. So if I were to say to you, the first person you should hire is someone to manage your books, but you went to school for accounting, then that doesn't necessarily make sense, right? And so I like to say that the first person to hire is the person who can do the thing that makes you sick on the stomach when you think about having to do it. That's the first person to hire. Is what is that task? And some people would say the first person to hire is someone who is going to generate revenue. And that's true to a point, because this person can directly generate revenue or they can indirectly generate revenue. So for example, as a solopreneur, you really are the revenue generator. Whatever it is that you do, whatever your genius is what's making money. You really want to be the one doing those consultations and discovery calls, because before you pass that to someone else, you need to know what's the best way to win a customer. I don't care if they know how to do sales. They don't know how to do sales for you yet until you know how to do sales for you. So I don't think that hiring somebody who can generate revenue is going to be the first hire. What you need to do is free yourself from stress and overwhelm. Get things off of your plate that don't require you, that absolutely you dread doing, because then that is going to give you the time and the energy to do more consultations, to do more discovery calls, to do more coffee chats, to go to more events where you're networking and meeting prospective customers or colleagues. So that's the question. What is it that you dread doing, but it absolutely needs to be done? There's a lot of that going around. Now, interestingly enough, I am a unicorn. I know people use that word a lot, but I really am a unicorn in that I am 51% integrator, which is processes and systems, and I am 49% visionary, which is creative. Meeting someone whose brain operates at almost 50-50 left and right side is an extreme rarity. So for me, I can pretty much work 24 hours a day if I wanted to, because when the left side of my brain is tired, I can switch to the right side of my brain and work for 10 more hours. I'm not advocating for that, and it's not healthy to my self-care, but I'm coming to a point here. So for me, the first hire for me, Stacy, was a housekeeper. It actually had nothing to do with my business directly. My first hire was a housekeeper, because I do not have time to clean my house. If I had time to clean my house, I don't want to clean my house. I am much more of a thinker, of a brilliant person. I like to use my brain, not my hands, to do work around the house. Like, that's just not my thing. So my first hire was a housekeeper. Not only did it create an environment for me to work in, because my office was at home. I've worked from home for probably 20 plus years. It created an environment where everything was clean, it was beautiful, it smelled yummy, which increased my joy, my productivity, my results. And it also lessened my stress, because do you know what it feels like when you're sitting there knowing that you really need to, clean the bathroom, you really need to do the laundry. I don't like making my bed, or I don't like changing the linen on my bed, because my mattress is like 18 inches thick and as heavy as all get out. And I dread having to do that. So the fact that they come, they take the linen off the bed, they put it all in the wash, they put on fresh linen. It's the smallest thing in the world. But for me, that was my first hire. And so I want to stress to the max, if you are a solopreneur, look at what you love doing, what lights you up, and then look at what you dread doing, but what absolutely needs to be done. Sometimes we're doing things in our business because other people said we should, and they don't even need to be done. So get rid of those things. Don't waste money or time or energy on that stuff. Get rid of it altogether. It's not important. It's not going to move the needle. And then make that your first hire. My second hire would have been, but Instacart came along. So again, before COVID ever became a thing, we were using Instacart before anyone knew what Instacart was. Because the other thing that I dread more than cleaning, or maybe they're neck and neck, is going to the grocery store. I actually don't like shopping at all. I don't like clothes shopping. I don't like shopping. And so ordering my groceries and having them delivered, and all I have to do is put them away, or better yet, order them on the day that the housekeeper is coming so that she can put them away. So again, for me, my first two hires had nothing to do with my business. So I want to put that out there so a solopreneur understands that a first hire doesn't have to be business related, but it does need to be overwhelm decreasing. Fair enough?
Absolutely, absolutely, and definitely in the line with my processes. I am probably close to the 50-50 line as well, so I understand the ever-ready battery, because all you have to do is kind of shift, right? You shift over to that other side. And I love that you chose you first, because you're the heart of your business, the heart of your home, and therefore that's how you keep your cup full, and then you can serve from your overflow. So I love that. So I'm going to go out with one final question for you.
Sure.
You're a big dreamer. And with women right now, we're in a phase where there are a lot of children and teenagers now dreaming of something different with Kamala Harris, possibly, just the fact that she has been nominated has put a different spin on things. For you, I haven't known you talk to you for too long, but I know that you're a dreamer. And the things that you dreaming so big, allows your clients and the other people around you to have expansion in their concept. Have you always been such a big dreamer, or is that something that came along the way?
Whoa, that's a great question. I have always been a big dreamer. I absolutely have. My mom tells this story of how when I was 7 years old, it was probably a school assignment. You know how schools tell you to, write what you want to be when you grow up. And my mom said that I had this list of about 10 things that I wanted to do. And, the teacher was like, well, you can't do all 10 of those. And I said to my mom, why can't I? And understanding that I am almost 60 years old. So to have that idea as a chocolate-skinned girl way back in the 60s was unheard of. And what my mom loves is that she tells me that I have done everything on that list except one thing. There's only one more thing on the list from when I was 7 years old, and I actually am in the process right now of making that thing a reality. So I absolutely have always been a big dreamer. My mom told me some things she told me were probably not as helpful, like you can do good and bad all by yourself, you don't need a man. I don't know how helpful that was in the long story of my life, but she also told me that I could do and be anything that I wanted. So I actually believed her, and I never considered the thought that I couldn't. And I still don't consider the thought that I couldn't, or more importantly, and you know how I feel about the shoulds, I never considered that I shouldn't. And along the way, I've rocked a lot of boats and made a lot of people, not so happy because I did what I felt I was being led to do, what my purpose is. And purpose shifts. It's not. I used to think it was only one purpose, and that was your purpose for life. And once I realized that your purpose actually changes and shifts and grows and morphs, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I get to do more things that are my purpose. And so, this new purpose is all about cultural equity, and us as people of color, brown and tan and black, because this isn't a black thing. Intercultural Voices is about the Alana community. This is the new purpose direction for my life, because I realize, and to your point, like this presidential shifting and everything that's happening for women in this moment, I've been fighting for women's equality for 36 years. And now I realize that it's not just women. I thought that all of my challenges was because I was a woman. And I didn't realize until 2020 that so much of the challenges I've had was because I was brown. And that realization really smacked me in the face. So now, yes, this next big, bodacious dream of cultural equity and group economics and access, it's definitely a dream that's way bigger than I could possibly do myself. It's going to take a collective for us to get where we should have been a long time ago.
Well, thank you so much for your responses. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for all the work that you have done and that you are doing and that is in front of you. Because you are definitely a trendsetter, a trailblazer, a warrior, and I hope to just continue crossing paths with you as the days continue on, because there's much work to do.
Yes, there is.
I yield the floor.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for having questions. Wonderful. This has just been so much fun. I really would love to be able to do open sessions like this for people to come and, just have questions, because I don't do a lot of coaching and consulting anymore, and I miss that. I'm a natural teacher, and I am an open book. Whatever it is that someone wants to know, I'm happy to share it. Diane, I see you have a question. Let me bring you up and see if I can answer that for you real quick. We are about to end, but I would not end without answering a question for you. How are you, Diane? It's so nice to meet you. Unmute your mic. The mute button is at the bottom of your screen. There you go. Hi.
Hi. Good morning, ladies.
How are you?
I'm homesick, believe it or not.
Oh, I hope you feel better. But hey, you're here and you get to ask a question, so that makes it worth the homeness.
Actually, it's not even a question. I just came on about 11 minutes ago, and the few things I've heard has been so powerful. And whatever is in your head, I feel like I feel like that's me. Everything you said, it's what my dream is. I'm a dreamer like you. I've hired a cleaner. I do the gross. I don't like to shop. So I've done the delivery. I have Instacart before COVID.
Wow.
So, but it's bigger than that. I'm always dreaming and what's next. But I've touched base with you outside of this, and continue to follow. How do I subscribe to know exactly when you're coming on each time?
Yeah, that would be awesome. So if you go to InterCultural Voices LinkedIn page, and
I just joined.
Yeah, and then there's a bell at the top of the page. If you click the bell, then it will notify you every time to join us for new topics, new voices, and new insights. And we just ask that you invite a colleague to come with you. Tell someone else about Intercultural Voices, because it is going to take a collective to get from where we are to where we are designed to be. And I want to just close with this. One of our speakers from a couple of episodes ago, named Gabby Garzon, she said something that I just feel is so amazing and may turn out to be the way I end every one of these calls. She said, "We are different cultures, but we have the opportunity to create one world."